The idea of a mid-range phone is about to get completely redefined because the OnePlus Nord 6 just showed up with specs that honestly sound like they belong on a $1,000 flagship, not something expected to cost under $400. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. It really helps me keep bringing you more tech breakdowns like this one. And the wild part? These specs are now official. This matters because for years, mid-range phones have always been about compromise. You either got solid performance but weak battery, or great battery but average display, or decent cameras but slower storage. There was always a trade-off. But with the Nord 6, OnePlus seems to be flipping that entire formula. Instead of balancing features, they're stacking them aggressively. Let's start with the biggest headline feature, because this is the one that instantly grabs attention: a massive 9,000 milliamp hour battery. That's not just big, it's absurdly big for a mainstream smartphone. To put it into perspective, even premium flagships struggle to cross 5,000 or 6,000 milliamp hours. This is in a completely different league. According to early claims, this translates to up to 26.9 hours of YouTube playback, or more than 2.5 days of normal use. If that holds up in real-world usage, this could easily become one of the longest-lasting phones ever released in its category. And it's not just about endurance. It's paired with 80-watt fast charging, so even with that huge battery, you're not stuck waiting forever to top it up. Now here's where things get even more interesting: performance. The Nord 6 is powered by the Snapdragon 8S Gen 4, a chipset that's already being used in high-performance devices. This isn't typical mid-range silicon. This is near flagship-level power. Combined with 12 GB LPDDR5X RAM and 256 GB UFS 4.1 storage, you're looking at speeds that could actually outperform some premium phones, especially when it comes to app loading and multitasking. In fact, that storage tech is faster than what's expected in some competing flagship lineups, which is honestly kind of shocking at this price point. Then there's the display, and again, no compromises. You're getting a 6.78-inch OLED panel with a 165 Hz refresh rate. That's higher than what many flagship phones offer, including some ultra-premium models. A refresh rate like that means everything feels insanely smooth. Scrolling, gaming, animations, all of it just looks more fluid and responsive. And it's not just the visuals. Connectivity also gets an upgrade, with a dedicated G2 Wi-Fi chip and support for 5G Advanced, meaning this phone is built to stay fast, not just today, but for the next few years. Camera-wise, the setup is solid, even if it's not the main focus here. You're looking at a 50-megapixel main sensor with OIS, an 8-megapixel secondary camera, and a 32-megapixel front camera. It's a capable setup, but clearly the real priorities of this phone are battery, performance, and display. And honestly, that's probably the right call. Because when you step back and look at the full picture, the Nord 6 isn't trying to beat flagships at everything. It's trying to dominate where it actually matters most to everyday users: battery life, speed, smoothness. And if the expected pricing holds, somewhere around the same range as its predecessor, that makes this even more disruptive. We're talking about a phone that could deliver flagship-level performance and unmatched battery life for a fraction of the price. But here's the bigger question: why don't phones like this get more attention globally? Because on paper, the Nord 6 feels like the kind of device that could easily appeal to a massive audience, not just in one region, but worldwide. It checks the boxes that most people actually care about in real life. And yet, there's a chance it might stay limited in availability, without the kind of marketing push that flagship devices usually get. Which is a bit ironic, because in many ways, this might be one of the most practical and exciting smartphones of the year, not because it's the most expensive, but because it delivers where it counts. If this is the direction mid-range phones are heading, then the gap between mid-range and flagship is about to get very, very small. What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section. See you in the next video. Take care.